All right, good evening. Troy Human Relations Commission, Thursday, May 18th, 2023. It's 6:15 a.m. and I call this meeting to order.
PM.
Oh,
it's okay. It's good.
Thanks.
All right, Todd Sievert, Marvin Major,
Here.
Ruby Villa-Boas, Sonia Holycross,
Here.
Kane Feltner, here, John Keller, here.
All right, so I'm going to we're going to do approve the minutes, sorry. Motion to approve the minutes from March 16th. Anybody want to?
I would like to make a motion to approve the March 16th, 2023 minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry, that seems silly with such a small group. All right, we're going to go into the 2023 project updates, the Ohio Historical Marker. So I know that marker was submitted, and I believe we're just waiting for the natural process to happen. So we did meet the deadline. Salome and our other historians did a great job putting that together, and then I basically kind of overlooked it, signed, and we sent it off. The Ohio Historical Markers, I think if we look at our other pages, we can see the suggested walking tour map locations. There's 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16. And then on the next page we have other routes and stops that are kind of planned out. Anybody want to add any comments to these stops or add any?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
And we probably need to re-engage on this, but the thought was just to have a brochure, also to have a website as well. Is that correct?
Are we still going to have a brochure and website for the walking tours?
We are working on the brochure, but I'm not sure about the website.
Okay.
I know that when you talked about the history library or historical society having a page for information on those stops, but we can, yes, we can discuss that.
Okay. I'm happy to build a website for it if we.
Okay.
That's why I was wondering if we had it in plans or not, because that's really easy.
Okay.
That would be really cool.
Once we have all the stops approved, and then we'll start working on the map, we can also definitely start working on the webpage.
Okay. Perfect.
A lot of good information in here. So there's also some Underground Railroad terms. You guys want to kind of look those over?
Yes, I included those pages because Mr. Tremblay at Troy History Museum, he had that, so I thought maybe you'd like to see all the.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Smart to add. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think that is really very interesting. And I wondered, like, as part of the tour, is this stuff that we can incorporate in? Because I think it would be really good. Oh,
Yeah.
Our commissioner came in, Mr. Sievert. Would you like to join us?
Let's just keep moving.
Okay. All righty. Interesting. The Mayo House. Some of these I've never heard of. I think it'd be really cool maybe if we did kind of the walking tour outline ourselves at one point, maybe when they get it completely honed down, just to kind of see what that experience might be like. I think that'd be really cool. I didn't know if Prelima Sewell, I'm probably saying it wrong, I apologize if I am, if he owned like a house here, or if it's considered of any significance, just the story alone and him having one of the largest endowments. Have you came across any information like that? Okay.
No, I have not.
No worries. Okay. All right, so if we don't have anything for the walking
Well,
map,
maybe I should explain that, first several pages that talks about routes.
yeah,
That information I obtained from Troy History Museum.
okay,
Mr. Tremblay had those copies, and actually, a few years ago, they did the walking tour.
right,
So that information is from him, and also that the pages you see, Miami County of Ohio Underground Railroad, those pages are from the book History Library has.
right,
So all those stops that are listed are from either Mr. Tremblay's documents or that book I found at the library.
okay,
And then first 6 items on the list were the other locations we previously discussed adding on a map, like Nineveh, Soldier Circle, Mr. Kenny's headstone, which we have not talked about it because it was just unveiled on May 2nd when the library had the walking tour at the cemetery.
yeah,
And Lincoln Community Center, at Science at McKagan Race Park, and also then the rest of it is just the Underground Railroad stops. So those are just suggested sites, and if you have any additions or if you see something that you would not want to include on that brochure and mark on the map, yeah, you can just let me know, and yeah, I can submit a new draft.
The question with, the houses that are connected to the Underground Railroad, would we, in theory, like, be just walking past the house with a narrative? Have we talked to, like, homeowners? Can you see parts of the Underground Railroad, like, in their homes, or?
That
It's
I
not
don't
gonna be possible.
know.
Well, I'm just curious, have you
So what I
reached out?
have seen from the
Mhm.
tour the museum did, so they are just stopping by the site, and they are just explaining, if they have a guide, the guide explains the significance of the property,
Mhm.
or we could do, if this is self-walking tour, so basically we would be putting brief information for each location on
Mhm.
that brochure.
Nice.
I know at one point you all saw Troy Main Street's walking map.
Mhm.
That also has, like, on the map, each property is numbered, and then on other pages you'll see the number, and then it gives you the history of that property.
Gotcha.
So I was thinking the similar type of brochure, the trifold.
That would be nice. I was just curious because if anything, that's pictures. Even if there's, whatever remnants is left, it's kind of neat to see a picture as you're walking. Like, of course, you're not going to intrude in people's houses, but if it's possible, again, I don't know. I think it's a pretty, I think it just is an emotional experience if you can see something. Maybe we can't, but I think it's worth a shot.
I think as we talk about the web development piece of it, I kind of envision it as people getting the brochure, they can scan the QR code or go to the website, and then the website pulls up all the items that are listed, and then everything that's listed there, we can have someone do a video narration or just a voiceover with information on it, with pictures or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's, my company can do that for free, we'll do it.
I think that's wonderful, but
Yeah.
part of the point of the pictures too is it's creating that diversity. That homeowner's probably not going to be African American, but I bet you they have like pictures from their family that they can maybe share, or the lineage, or maybe
you're
they don't even know
asking,
at all.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, it's anywhere we can create that kind of culture diversity, building that relationship, I think it's just kind of what we're here to do. So I love that.
I think the Presbyterian Church would be willing. It looks like this tour has taken place before. They put this together before.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you read through this stuff, you could go to the basement in the
Oh,
Presbyterian
yeah, and the
Church.
Presbyterian, yeah. So we could take pictures of the
Yeah.
shackles.
But some of the homes, again, there's a story, but there's not necessarily deep supporting evidence or anything to be seen at this point, so.
Okay.
But I agree with you, any pictures that could be included.
Yeah, I
And if we
think
could,
it's good.
get into the church, that's probably the
I wonder, do they already have a virtual tour of that church? We could possibly provide
And
that, which would be
yeah.
really cool, you know, for people that maybe can't walk.
Right.
It's not wheelchair accessible under
Yeah.
there, so that would be cool too. And that creates another gap, you know, for people that
Yeah.
can't get down there, so that's
I
cool.
know we had talked about in the past doing like some kind of like plaque for a building that
Mhm.
would be on this walking tour, and so we haven't talked about that in the past, but I'd be happy to throw my hat in to try to
I think,
figure out.
sorry to interrupt, right now, I think we should start putting together the map and the brochure,
Mhm.
and then building the website, and then we can certainly approach the property owners and ask,
Right,
because that's
later.
not in our hands, that's on,
Right.
if they want to
Yes.
have that, something on their building.
Mhm.
But I think if we
Agreed.
gradually start building this information, we should be able to have results really
validity
soon.
then.
Agreed.
All right.
Per the audio, I think it'd be really cool if we did an audio recording and uploaded it on, like, Spotify or something like that.
Yeah.
A lot of young people have Spotify, and then you could just do a self-walking tour with your phone and your
Right.
I
headphones,
like that, yeah.
and just have the recording there.
Okay.
And
I don't know.
Spotify is free. You would have commercials if you have the free subscription, but it would be accessible to
So will we get a
anybody.
royalty back for that when people listen to it?
Yeah, I think you do get paid.
Well, then that's
Funding.
nice. Yeah, we have free funding.
We couldn't get money,
I
but
love
that's
young-
okay.
I love young people. That's a good idea.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, that really is.
You'd have to help on that, I have no idea, on Spotify, but.
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay.
All right. So now moving on to other business. Other business,
What are we on the agenda?
other business. You got something?
I have a question. Who's doing the Juneteenth website and how's that going?
So my daughter's doing it, a bunch of Facebook stuff went out yesterday, and I brought the brochure to pass around.
Yay!
And there's signs up all through downtown. Brad Beringer put up, God knows, 30 signs, I think. He just went one day and put up a bunch of signs. So, it's moving forward.
It's moving forward? Awesome.
I don't know that there's a website. I think they only have a Facebook page.
There is a Juneteenth website.
Is there a website too? Okay.
Yeah, thought I gave you the username passcode, or was it Sonia? You two were asking.
It might be on the June, I don't know, but I did see a bunch of Facebook stuff go out
We'll
today.
definitely discuss that in our next meeting.
Yeah, and if you need any help, my company's hosting it, so if you need help doing anything, just let me know.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
yep, welcome.
That's what I was going to talk about, so
Oh, you are?
we'll now just wait till we get to commission members' comments, and then we can chat all about it.
All right, well, moving on to commissioner member comments. If there's no other business. Oh, it's all you.
Okay, so Juneteenth is up and running and humming, and I have a little deal. I think everybody already knows this, but for the people that would be watching or listening in, it's again a Friday evening sort of more upscale event, followed by the picnic on Saturday. 6:30 at Troy Hayner Cultural Center. We'll be having Paisha, did I say that right, Sonia?
Yep.
Okay, Paisha Thomas Quintet. One of the things that is new this year is Maurice Sadler put together, with other people, I just know Maurice was part of it, an art exhibit for the schools. So there will be a display of artwork that was prepared by local school children. On Saturday at 3 o'clock, we'll meet at the Hobart Food Equipment Group, which is different than in the past, which is at 701 South Ridge Avenue. We'll do the walk to the McKay Grace Park, starting at around 4 probably. We'll have food ready to go. There's so many more things this year, but there's giant Jenga and trucks and people and the highlight, well, I shouldn't say the highlight, but the Band, LYD, will be performing from 5:30 to 7. And if you miss seeing Pasha, she'll have a warm-up performance. I don't know if it's warm-up, but a performance before them from 4 to 4:45. I'm going to screw this. I don't know. You can go to the Facebook page, because do you know what time we're meeting to pass these out?
June 10th, but yeah, I think we were meeting on Saturday, June 10th.
June 10th
Yeah.
at 9, 8, we'll have it on if you go to the
I
Juneteenth,
think it's 10 a.m. to 12.
10 to 12?
I think so.
Okay.
But I also missed last meeting, so.
Me too.
Yeah, I think that's right, but check the Facebook page just to
I know it's
confirm.
June 10th.
Yeah.
I know we talked about doing in the morning.
Yeah, on the Saturday.
Yeah, so we have these, which I'll pass around, these little door hangers, which then we'll pass out for further marketing so that we get as many people there as we possibly can. And I don't know, did I forget anything? We're not doing servable food this year. We're just doing hamburgers and hot dogs because it was too hard to monitor, and we ended up with, 2 big vats of stuff the last couple of times. So we're doing hamburgers, hot dogs. We have a grill. Always need volunteers if anybody wants to do anything. Friday night, hopefully we get a decent crowd because it's also the sculptures, Main Street sculptures on the square night. So there's been some discussions about sort of enveloping those things together.
Is there a fee for Hainer for Friday? Completely free?
Everything's free.
Free.
Yeah, everything's free, and look, it's the third go-round, and as people know, many people have heard the rule of 3, so you either make it or break it on your third year, and so hopefully we've invested a lot of time, tried to do some things different, tried to keep things the same, and pray for good weather and pray for good attendance, and come out and enjoy yourself for Juneteenth. I'll pass this around if anyone wants to see it.
I'll take a picture of it.
Okay. So,
Any other comments?
I just hope, I'm willing to help man, but I think that the HRC ought to have a space there again this year. Last year we had space there, and I'd be willing to help man that. But would you like me to put in for that, or would you like to do that, or?
No, if you could,
Okay,
I would
I'll do
love
that.
that.
I'll contact
You
them.
got time that Saturday? Do you have time then? Yeah, it's Saturday.
I'll help with the booth.
I can help too.
Yeah.
On Juneteenth?
Mhm.
I'll be there already, yeah.
Okay, so we'll probably just have to tap each other out
Yeah.
and maybe man it. Okay. You'll be there too, right?
I think I'm traveling.
Okay, no worries.
I think I'll be in North
It's a great
Carolina.
time. If your wife wants to come for you,
Yeah.
we can hang out with her.
She's gonna be in Georgia.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
It's okay, understandable. That's so good.
I'll be in hiding there.
Nice.
Are we all good?
Mike, are we going to show the map route? Is it anywhere? And I apologize, I've been so busy. Okay.
I have no idea.
I'll email and ask.
That wasn't.
Probably can post it on a Facebook.
It would be helpful because it is really different than before. I think it'd just be helpful.
Okay,
People
we
can
can,
see.
we can bring that up at the next meeting, which is Tuesday,
Mhm.
23rd.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Any other public comments? Or, sorry, commissioner comments?
So I've missed the past couple of meetings due to some personal reasons. One I would like to share. In February, I lost a student to suicide, which was really difficult. She was a very bright, kind girl. And the reason I'm bringing it up is discussing this topic of what's next for the HRC. And, when I think human relations, I think about how mental health and how can we play a role of making awareness for suicide and how we can make preventive efforts to help with that. I was just looking at some data, just because I'm a data nerd, just to see what's going on. The country, an average, since the beginning of 2023, the United States has about a 67 suicide death rate per day. The state of Ohio reported for 2021 we lost 1,766 Ohioans to suicide, which is an 8% increase from the year prior. We're about mid in the United States for suicide rates. We're at 14.6% for the rate of suicide, and Miami County is at 13.9%. It might not seem a lot, but when you talk about the individual cases, we're talking about people in their 80s to kids at 9, 10, 11 years old, and it affects everyone, and it can range from mental health to drug addiction, how these suicide rates happen. And I think it would be very important and maybe a positive role that the Human Relations Commission can play in in any way you can, putting signs up downtown about positive mental health initiatives or something to kind of help people build community and self-community as well.
Good for you. So, I know personally, working or being able to teach classes in our jails, the suicide attempt rate is exponential in our jails alone, and often the COs and the sheriffs will say, we feel like the majority of these people, this isn't where they should be, but for lack of, that's where people. So I'm down with you to make any recommendations, education, raise awareness. I do think that is a serious thing, and I will acknowledge, since our in-house or in-county system, which was Detmer, has left, we've not been able to catch our footing. In fact, that's probably a part of why that is so high. That's really close to the unemployment rate, too, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Definitely. Any comments about?
I think that's a really good cause to get behind and support. I think we've all been affected by someone close who's done that. And, that's never fun to go through. And so I'd be very happy to help with any initiatives that you have for that.
I think it would be cool to see possibly the HRC work in tandem with Tri-City Schools and organizing a student body group that promotes positivity or something, some sort of youth group for kids to build community as well.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's like a significant list that we could come up with of
initiatives.
And there's tons of places who have these groups that people could kind of fit into. And I think all these churches around the city have groups. Like there's a church in Tip City that they have a big, it's like a building, and it's basically all for their kids. And they have kids from all across the city come. And it's not just Tip City, it's, Troy, Dayton, everywhere like that. So there's that. And then there's various after-school programs. But I think you're right. There's lots of people who are trying to give people safe places, and, especially children and also older adults as well. And so we just need to kind of tap into it, find it, and share the thought process.
I will say that Beth Shrake from Hospice reached out to me in my role at Partners in Hope, and is promoting a camp for kids that are dealing with suicide or any death, like a grief share camp. And so if anybody is interested, if anybody's listening, if you contact Partners in Hope, I can help them get into, or you can contact Hospice directly for those camps. And I believe that's from small age to 18 for the camp. And if there's a financial restraint, Partners in Hope's willing to help pay for that as well. And then St. Pat's Church does have an adult grief share program that's really good. I hear really good things about that as well. So yeah, and I can if you want, and we want to have this conversation ongoing, we can invite kind of the experts of those areas, like those people in.
Very good idea.
Yeah, I agree. And then have Mayor here, because again, we would advise her on, this is a crisis, in my opinion. You know, there's a lot of crises going on, but that's one of the top ones, definitely. All right. Public comment. Oh,
I just
sorry,
have,
go back. Yeah.
I would just, first of all, like to thank Salome for
Yes, always.
compiling the information she did for tonight's meeting on the walking tour. That was very helpful to me. And again, like to thank Chief Sean McKinney. The police are working on a new vision mission statement along with core values. And my understanding of that whole process is to develop again, a very positive police culture in our community. And I see that as being very proactive, and I appreciate that. So thank you for your work.
I hadn't heard about that.
So-
Would you care to share?
Yeah, we were invited, actually, John and myself, to be a part of strategic planning for that, along with other community members and organization leaders. And so what they were doing was they wanted to hear from the community our thoughts in regards to police and relationships within the community, and our thoughts about former mission vision and what it should be moving forward. And so I'll let Sean take over from that.
So yeah, the discussion that occurred with Sonia and John will be presented to a collection of officers and on the department from all ranks and different amounts of seniority, and we will come up with a rough draft. Obviously, the final product will be my decision as the chief of police, but I want them to buy in as the employees to our mission, vision, and core values. Our current mission, vision, we currently don't have, we have a mission and goals statement that was wrote in the early 1990s when we became accredited. We're such a young department now. I really want, to have this new input from our newer officers to see, that I want them to feel like this is their department and that they have a say-so in, some of the goals and views and what's important to our department. And it will include the, input we received from the community group 3 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, I'd also like to add to your discussion concerning suicides. We deal with this on a very regular basis. I have a new school resource officer in the high school, and after SRO Chris Tilley retired last year, and he came to me and just discussed how frequently and how surprised he is of how many students he sees going in and out of the counselor's office. He described it as just basically a revolving door. It's just nonstop, and his statement was, I don't know how they keep up, and it's just more than he expected ever to see, unfortunately. We work very closely with Tri-County Mental Health, which I'm sure Sonia's familiar with in your role. Brad Reed and Nicole Adkins, they provide not only training for us on a fairly regular basis, we go to different classes that they host, from dealing with the mentally ill, from dealing with our own mental health. Tri-County is a great resource for this board to look at, and they have lots of educational material, and they're always willing to share that educational material. So I just pulled up some of our stats while you were talking about it, and so we are dispatched generally to 2 types of suicides. Dispatch classifies them as suicides that are basically just threatened, that don't need an ambulance or a squad run with them, and ones where the person is either injured or has overdosed. And last year, we responded to 143 calls where a squad was not needed that were labeled by our dispatchers as suicides or attempted suicides, and 23 calls where a squad was dispatched along with the police department. Now I have to kind of put a note on these too, because if it doesn't include, if sometimes say we go to a domestic violence call, and then we get there, and somebody will say, I'm thinking about hurting myself. And so those aren't necessarily counted in these, but the officers react the same way. Our first preference is to try to get somebody mental health by going out to UVMC, their crisis center out there. I don't know, Joel does this on a fairly regular basis. If people refuse, we depending on the threat and the facts that we can prove, we have a pink slip route we can do where we can force people into the hospital. Joel actually teaches those courses for our younger officers to learn how to pink slip people. So it's something we're very familiar with. And on a side note, when I was talking about our high school SRO, the high school has I don't think it's the full class, the state curriculum that we've been talking about, the interactions with the police department. But this week, School Resource Officer Zach Hook in the high school is going to present in a couple of the government classes. I don't think it's the whole senior or junior class, but he's going to start presenting some of these classes of interacting with the police.
Awesome.
So.
That's great. That's awesome.
Good work. Yeah,
Man.
that's fantastic news. Thank you for sharing.
That
You're
really
welcome.
is.
Yes. And then the suicide calls were actually down 4% in the city limits. Sometimes our statistics can be a little misleading, though, too, because of, we compare them to the fire department. The fire department also includes Concord and Staunton Township. So our numbers are sometimes a little different than the fire department's numbers. And then when you talk to the health department, they do it by zip code, which is a whole different, and that's the hospital data. So you get 3 different sets of numbers depending on who you talk to. But our report showed they were down 4% from last year.
Down is good.
And that might be related to some of the pandemic issues.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Really good.
Thank you.
Feel good, don't you?
Yeah, that's good information.
I know, right? That just feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
progress
really
is
does.
happening. Man. All right, well,
Good, happy people. Thank you.
I know, right?
Yep.
It kind of makes you feel like you're doing something. Awesome. Okay, well, no more public comments, then we will.
I would recommend reading 1619 Project. It's a really good book. I'm in the midst of reading it. It's more of a history book. It does challenge the idea of when did the country actually start, but its main purpose is informing a lot of Black history, and there's African American recipes in there, and a lot of cool stuff that you can do with your family in them as well. It's a really good book.
Thank you.
So yes, it's daunting. It's really big, but it's a really good read. So, and all my friends that are reading it are falling in love with it too. So
Awesome.
yes, it's a good book.
We appreciate it.
All right. Well, if that is all, we will adjourn the meeting.
All right.
So moved.
Second?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry.